beginnings to raising the future, achieving success along the way. We'll never back down, because we are here to race.
Racing isn't easy. Every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer. Visit iRacing.com.
To get the most eyes on your vehicle, you need the best that the rest will see. At Lightning Wraps, you get the best at an affordable price compared to the rest. Be sure to check us out on Facebook for more information.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to the Lightning Arca Series. Tonight, we are taking on Knoxville Raceway. I am Oscar Jensen, and I am joined by Bryce Shoemaker here. Right now, we're about to get the heat race number 1 underway. 5 cars will be taking the field here, which will be Robert Kahn, Timothy Causey, Jason Henry, Chris Ellis, and Sean Burke. Now, Bryce, this is a different situation from what we're used to. We're on a dirt track tonight, and what are your expectations for this race, this first heat race right now?
This is all about practice. This is the first time they're going to be under race conditions. This obviously isn't the main feature yet, so this is just a great opportunity to learn what the cars are going to do side by side in the heat of battle. So these guys don't have to worry about points or anything. This, I believe, does start the main event qualifying effort, so a little bit of track position would be good, but the most important thing here is practice.
Yeah, and a track like this, practice will definitely be key, and we got a few guys who, after speaking to them last week at Watkins Glen, we're a little bit iffy on tonight, so we'll have to see what it's like, but right now, green flag underway for heat race number 1. Robert Kahn, Timothy Kazi fighting it out early here. Timothy Kazi on that high side. Robert Kahn follows the second.
Yes, a very clean start so far. Everyone's getting acquainted with the track. They're going to get used to the changing track conditions as the rubber starts to set in. But right now, really clean so far as drivers start to spread out and learn which line, the top, bottom, middle, which one works best.
Yeah, and we talked about the main key thing is going to be practicing. Right now, it looks like a lot of these guys are just trying to get comfortable with what line they're going to be running. We see some of these guys further back here, Sean Burke, Jason Henry, kind of experimenting with the higher lane. Now, that will be a big factor in the later stages of this event. When we do get the main event underway, it's going to be something you're going to have to probably find later in that run once these lanes kind of fizzle out, and you'll have to be comfortable as Timothy Kazi goes way high right there.
Yeah, right now this is all about trial and error. We see Timothy Kazi get up there. He's making it work though. He's really getting the rear end to kick out, really grip up there on corner exit. So, as we have one spinning on turn 2.
And that's Robert Kahn. Looks like he'll continue on, but that's definitely gonna not be a good thing for him, because he'll be the last car in that 5th position out of this group. And with just a short 10-lap race, we're already at 4 laps to go. I think that was 3 laps to go right there or will be 3 laps to go here at the line. So it seems like a lot of these drivers really just trying to get some sort of race pace under their belt. And right now, Timothy Kazi kind of making it look easy. I mean, we talked about him experimenting up with that high lane side, and a driver who looks this good is probably going to be really comfortable in the main event, wouldn't you say, Bryce?
Yeah, he looks really good right now. He's definitely using the high line. I'm surprised at the gap he has. I'm surprised he hasn't tried to experiment down low, trying to grip that berm that's down there in Knoxville. But he definitely looks like the best so far. We'll have to see how Heat 2 goes and see who might be able to contend with Timothy Kazi here tonight.
And the issues keep coming for Robert Kahn. Lost his front nose completely, but it's not going to matter, because Timothy Kazi is going to come around to this checkered flag for this heat race. One of what will be a few to come. So we'll get heat race number 2 going here. We'll let these drivers get themselves situated. This one again will have 5 cars. We'll start out the field with a Budge here. Then we have Jeffrey Ledford, Chantel Patel, and then Mike Rideout and Hayden Cookhausen. And while we're on the subject of some of these drivers, Budge here has been on fire this season so far and seems to be, I'd say, probably one of the championship favorites. Wouldn't you say, Bryce?
Yeah, he's definitely been. We've seen him go through a lot of issues and come back to the field in multiple events so far this season. So he's definitely a championship favorite. He's going to be starting on the pole here for this heat race, so I'll be excited to see if dirt racing is also in his background, as he's checked off a lot of other boxes in NASCAR world here.
Yeah, and the dirt win would be fun to see with Bud. Always a pleasure to talk to him. He was able to win last week at Watkins Glen, and then also win at Myrtle Beach. So looking to make it 3 in a row tonight. We'll have to see if he can get it done in this heat race and give himself a good starting position for that main event. Right now, Pace Truck, though, is going to pull off. Bud Shear, or I guess not quite yet, but Bud Shear looking pretty. Now we got the Pace Truck off. Bud Shear sitting pretty. He's going to lead the field around to the front straightaway. Green flag in the air. We're off and away for heat race number 2. Bud's going to lead lap number 1 in this heat. Jeffrey Ledford able to get second place and hang on to it as he had a little bit of pressure from behind. Not as big as a gap between first and second like we saw in that heat race number 1.
Yeah, just like heat 1, we have a really clean start. They're starting to get separated, getting used to the track conditions. Something we did see in the heat 1 is Bud Shear's using that bottom, like I was saying at the end of that first stage. He's really practicing using that bottom of the berm right now. So as the track rubber is up, I know it's a short stint here, but if he wants to experiment and move up the track later in this race, he'll get some really great experience for that main heat as the track conditions change.
Yeah, and track conditions is going to be the big topic of the night. Again, you see Bud choosing to run a little bit lower than Jeffrey Ledford behind him in second place. And Jeffrey has actually been turning some pretty decent lap times and kind of closing that gap between those two slowly but surely. And I think Jeffrey might have a say in this before this heat is over with.
Yeah, that's just one of the most wonderful things about dirt racing. Every line is usable here on dirt, especially when the track ages and the grip goes down. We're seeing the bottom work, we're seeing the top work. Right now, it looks like Ledford does have that top rolling more and more as the bottom wears more, so this is going to be an exciting battle here down the stretch.
And Ledford with a huge run off or two there. He's going to try and send it to the outside of Shear. We'll see if he can get another good run through 3 and 4. Oh, Bud with a little bit of a trick up there when trying to get on the throttle. Jeffrey not able to make it stick though. And he's going to have to rebound and try and get another run built with just under 3 laps to go.
Yeah, what I'm noticing is the bottom line really gets a good entry and a really good center bite. Where the outside is getting really used is the exit of the corner. With the longer straights here, he's getting a lot of momentum down the straightaways on the exit.
And 2 laps to go at the line there. And Bud had a little bit of a moment right there in 3 and 4. Jump that little brim that this track has down on these bottom lanes and upset his car, but didn't upset it enough to give Ledford a shot at the first position here as they come around and see the white flag. Bud here trying to hang on. Ledford all the way up against that wall.
He's got one more shot here.
Sent it in deep. Didn't make it to the back bumper. And off at 4. Bud Shear is going to win heat race number 2.
What
Wow.
a finish. That was some great racing.
That was phenomenal out of both those drivers right there. And my God, did Jeffrey Ledford look really quick right there. I think he's definitely going to be contending in that main feature event. That was some great last few laps there out of him.
Yeah, right there. That was just so much. We keep on mentioning the practice here in the heats, and that was just the most perfect practice you can have for the end of the main feature there. Those two are going to know exactly what to do for those closing laps.
That'll be an exciting thing to watch when we get to the main event now. Heading on to heat number 3. Again, another 5 cars. Tristan Shriver is going to lead them out, followed by Barry Nelson, Luke Deschardins, Owen Russell, and then Michael Chanel. These are our 5 drivers in heat race number 3. Now, we've seen the bottom lane and we've seen the high lane work. I definitely feel like there is more speed to be found in that high lane. However, if you're able to make that bottom lane work, I definitely do think you'll be able to make some ground up, especially if you're starting deeper in the field. Now, it's definitely going to be interesting to see in this heat race as to what these drivers choose for lane preference, because right now we've seen at least 2 different lanes work with these previous 2 heats. Bud winning on the bottom lane in just the recent one. And I haven't really seen anybody take the middle lane yet. I'm not quite sure if that's going to be an option, but you never know. We could always see somebody find some great speed as we get lined up to get the green flag here in just a moment. Again, little quick stint here of 10 laps. Not a lot of time for these drivers to really get super seated in, but enough to get some laps underneath their belt. Kristen Shriver leading the field to green, green flag in the air once again for heat number 3. Now we're back to our race leader preferring that bottom lane, but Barry Nelson working about the middle lane, I'd say, to about the higher lane, trying to get that car underneath him, as he's going to have some pressure from Luke Deschardins behind him.
Yeah, right now we're in the middle of Heat 3 right now, and whenever I do heat racing in any form of racing, I always prefer having these later heats, as I had the ability to watch that Heat 1, Heat 2, and actually get to learn. So we see these guys migrating to the bottom. I think they learned a lot there from the last heat with how good the entry and center was for that low line. So if you can maximize the berm and get that grip in the center, I think the low line might be just as good as the top line.
Yeah, and you say it's a good thing to be able to go out later and watch drivers before you kind of either making mistakes or find the speed that you might, necessarily want to either avoid or try and gain advantage with. And right now, I think a lot of these drivers are probably, like you said, got a little bit more knowledge under their belt with watching the previous heat races, as these 2 drivers, Barry Nelson and Luke Deschardins, are going to try and Michael Chanel and Barry Nelson are going to try and go side by side for the second position. Michael Chanel currently getting that position away, and he's been getting it these past couple of laps. He's really closed down on second and first place here with under 4 laps to go.
It's so interesting that you said that you wanted the middle line to be used in this heat, and that's exactly what Michael Chanel's doing right now. He's utilizing that middle line now. So in each heat, we've seen a different line being used, and he was really getting after in the middle. You can really see it. It looks like the middle line is darkening up really quickly, though, compared to the other line. So that'll be something we'll have to watch in the main heat, or main event.
Yeah, that's the one cool thing about these dirt tracks. You're really going to be fiddling around on the track, trying to find the grip out there with how often these lanes will be changing, as Tristan Schreiber is going to get the white flag this time by. Oh, and Chanel behind has a big moment there, hangs on to it, but that's going to kill his momentum that he had.
I thought we were about to see another good finish like that last heat. He had that middle rolling really, really well.
And just one little hiccup, that's all it took, was just one little hiccup. And unfortunately, all that time that he had gained, he lost that quickly, and that allowed Tristan Schreiber to get that heat race win. And like we keep talking about, this track's going to be constantly changing, and it's going to be something that these drivers are going to have to keep in mind and be easy, but also be, you know, try and give it 100% and not overcorrect or overdo a corner, because just like we saw right there, that will happen. Now moving on to heat race number 4, a little bit of a smaller field for this one. Only 4 drivers in here. That'll be Jesse Fox, Sebastian Chanel, Rusty Jordan, and then Brandon Cookhausen. Now with a smaller field, Bryce, do you think we're going to see a little bit more aggression, or do you think we're going to maybe see these guys maybe take it a little bit easier, knowing that they have a few less cars than we've been seeing these past couple of heat races?
This could go either way. This can get either super aggressive with less cars, or this can get spread out pretty quick. So I'll be interested to see what happens. I definitely know if I was in this heat, I'd be a little bit disappointed. I feel like I'd want more cars just to learn as much as I can. I feel like with only 4 cars, this might be a little bit more limited on what's going to happen.
Yeah, and you know, we talk about it always being good to have more cars, especially at a track like this where you're really just, you're not used to racing on dirt. And once we get to that main feature event, it's gonna be something wild, I think, for a few of these drivers. I think some of these drivers might be a little bit anxious to get to that point, but with the smaller field, it's definitely going to be a little bit more welcoming. As Jesse Fox is going to lead the field to green for heat race number 4. Green flag in the air. We're off and racing. Sebastian with a great run on the outside, utilizing that high side early on. Jesse Fox now going to try and find something in that middle lane, but it's not going to be enough as they head into turns 1 and 2.
Great save by Jesse Fox there. He went up and over that berm there and got it collected and didn't spin or nothing, so great save by him, and he's able to continue on.
And that berm is probably going to be something that we're going to be talking about all night long. We'll probably see multiple drivers get over that by mistake, not by choice. It's just from the few times that I've run here, it's something that you're just not accustomed to, and before you know it, you're turning into the corner and whoop, there you go, right over it. So definitely something that'll be something that we'll have to keep in mind when we go on to the feature here in just a few moments. Right now, though, Sebastian looking good up front, but Rusty Jordan trying to say something before this race is over.
Yeah, both drivers right now are just searching around. I'm watching them go middle, high. I haven't really seen them try to utilize the low line yet, but they're definitely searching around and experimenting for these last few laps here.
And right there, Rusty Jordan got a little bit out of the groove and it smacked that wall. Has a little bit of right rear damage. I don't think that'll hurt him too much right now, but that allowed Brandon Cookhausen to really close up on him for a moment there. With coming to 4 laps to go, we'll have to see if Rusty Jordan can find some of that speed that he had just a few moments ago. Right now, though, Sebastian looking good out front and really... Oh, I go say that, and then Brandon Cookhausen able to take second away as Rusty Jordan had a little bit of a moment there the last lap.
Yeah, I've done that so many times. You just got the rear over rotated, had to collect and save it, and just went up and over the berm as well. So another great save to not fully spin out here on dirt, is that's so easy to do. Just getting more good practice on how to collect these cars, to be honest. That's just as good as practice in these heats.
We'll ride on board with Rusty Jordan here for a moment just to see what these drivers are doing inside the car. And the throttle inputs, you got to be so precise and just be mindful that the minute you go to floor that throttle, you're not going to have that stick that we do when we go on asphalt or pavement. And white flag one more time around for Sebastian in this heat race. All he has to do is just keep doing what he's been doing because he's looked good up front. And at the line, Sebastian is gonna collect the heat race number 4. So Bryce, with these 4 heat races, it's kind of looked like we have some fan favorites as to who could be a contender here in this feature.
Yeah, I feel like I say this a lot in this series, but I have my eyes on Bud Shear. I was looking at all the heats there and just looking at who was the smoothest, and Bud Shear looked the smoothest. I didn't see him really make any mistakes. He got the bottom rolling. He put his nose on the left front tire right there on the berm to get the most rotation out of it, so I really like what I'm seeing from him.
Yeah, and I think Bud is definitely, after those previous wins the last couple of weeks, I think he's definitely carrying some momentum here at Knoxville. Now we'll have to see if he can round it out tonight. These drivers having a little warm-up before we get the feature underway. Feature will consist of 60 laps, so a little bit of a taller task now that we just came from a 10-lap heat race for some of these drivers that, may not be accustomed to this type of racing. And like you said, I think it's definitely going to be an interesting race here between the different lanes that we'll get and the comers and goers, and I think we're in for a pretty interesting race here.
Yeah, we definitely are, and we learned a lot there, but this is going to be a whole new element. We're going to have 19 cars on the racetrack together, and this is going to be 60 laps, not 10, so we were talking about changing track conditions. We're going to accelerate that like tenfold here with all these cars on the track with that many laps. You're going to see the track get really dark, and we're going to really see them from the very bottom to hugging the wall.
Now with just a couple seconds left in this warm-up before we get the feature underway here, we got one more race after tonight before we start the hunt for the championship, and that'll be at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. So 2 very, I'd say, more difficult tracks for some drivers. Others it might be a little bit easier, but these next 2 races are really going to be important for some of these drivers, and if you're able to come out with the win tonight, I'm sure that would be really a good level to be on, especially at a dirt track like Knoxville.
Yeah, the points are tight right now, and only 2 races remaining. I know as a driver, I'd probably be annoyed a little bit that this dirt race, the special event, is happening so close to the cutoff for the championship. So, this is I think these drivers will be under pressure tonight for sure. They probably put in so much practice for this event with how close it is. So, I think this is gonna be a great show, and I wish these drivers luck. I'd hate to be in the position right now, which makes this even more fun to be in the broadcast booth.
And with let's go ahead and get our grid underway. Timothy Causey, Bud Shearer will make up row number 1. Row number 2 will be Christian Schreiber and Sebastian Chanel. Row number 3 will head on to Jason Henry and Jeffrey Ledford. Row number 4 will be made up of Michael Chanel and Brandon Cookhausen. Excuse me. Row number 5 will have Sean Burke and Chantel Patel. Row number 6 will have Barry Nelson and Rusty Jordan. Row number 7 we will have Chris Ellis and Hayden Cookhausen. Going back to row number 8 will be Luke Deschordins, and then Jesse Fox. Row number 9 will be Robert Kahn and Mike Rideout. And then rounding out the field will be Oren Russell. Just moments away from getting the green flag here at Knoxville Raceway. Bryce, I'm excited. You're excited. Let's get them under green. Green flag off and away for the main event. Lap number 1 in the books. Bud Shearer taking the early advantage. But don't look too far behind, because Christian Schreiber is all over his back bumper as they go into turns 3 and 4.
Yeah, that's as clean of a start you'll ever get in a league race, dirt racing, for these guys have some dirt. So, just big props to everyone right now as we have a big battle for the lead. This is great racing right now. Fireworks are going off in the distance, and this is a fantastic event.
Christian taking a dive to the inside, not able to make it stick, so he'll have to fall back in line. Bud Shearer, though, able to hang on for the moment. We'll see what Christian can do here in these next couple of laps. Michael Chanel back in third, trying to hang with these top 2, but these top 2 have slowly crept away from the rest of the field. Oh, Christian got a little bit of the berm. Go ahead, Bryce. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good. I was saying the first big battle on the track right there was Chantel Patel and Jeffrey Ledford, but Jeffrey Ledford just got into the wall and lost a lot of momentum down the straightaway.
And Ledford looks like he does have a little bit of right rear damage from that. And I think we saw the same thing happen to him in his heat race, didn't we? I believe that was Ledford.
I think so, and he was challenging for the lead. Yeah, I think he got into the wall and over rotate, got into the berm. So still making some mistakes, but still plenty of time to go. We're only 7 of 60 into this event. A lot of time to still come back.
You say a lot of time to go as we come to lap 8. A lot of these drivers might be hearing that on the radio and might not be too thrilled about us only being 8 laps in, now 9 laps in. I'm sure some of these guys probably are trying to just survive and get through here, as Michael Chanel has closed in on these top 2 for the race lead.
Yeah, just like you were saying, I think these top 3 right here, they're having a blast. Everyone else wants this race to end as soon as possible. Everyone else is trying to survive, get as good of a finish. These top 3 are pushing the cars as hard as possible. We're really seeing them. They're utilizing the very bottom to middle. We haven't seen them search up the track yet. I feel like if we get another 20, 25 laps, we're going to see all 3 moving up the track here.
And as this track really gets worked in, we'll definitely see some of these drivers change the lane, as Michael Chanel tried to dive to the inside, didn't make it stick. So he's going to fall back in line and try and get another run built on Christian Driver here for that second place. But Michael has really turned the heat up these last few laps for the second position.
We are 12 left into this event. The big thing that we're about to start seeing is lap traffic. These leaders have not experienced any lap traffic. We haven't seen slower cars. They don't know how they race. They haven't raced around them. So this is going to be very interesting. I think who wins this race is going to be who navigates the traffic the best, not necessarily who's the smoothest. So this is going to get really exciting really quick as they're rapidly approaching the back part of this field.
And Michael Chanel taking that second place away, but Christian Driver trying to put the pressure back on the low side. And as you said, lap traffic directly ahead. These 2 drivers are gonna probably want to get that sorted out, as they're just caught the 30 car of Chris Ellis, who has moved off the way on the top side there. But lap traffic is definitely going to be a big factor in tonight's race, as Michael Chanel, a little bit of a hiccup right there through 4, opening the door once again for Christian Driver to dive down to the inside. Not enough momentum to make it stick as they head down the back straightaway.
Yeah, this is a fantastic battle for P2, and I can promise you Bud Shear's loving every moment of it. He's getting to watch a great battle in this mirror, and he's able to pull away here as he approaches a lot of traffic. So he's wanting to keep this battle up as he pulls. We're waiting for this track to start rubbering up and moving up, and I think we'll start seeing easier conditions.
And Bud Shear working through some heavy lap traffic. That's Jesse Fox, Jason Henry, and Oren Russell all right there in front of Bud. He's going to slide up and almost get a little bit of a kiss there from Jason Henry, as he had a moment there trying to get through that lap traffic. Now our second place of Michael Chanel and third place Christian Schreiber are going to have to do the same thing here.
I'm not racing, but man, I'm even sweating. This is really intense right now, getting through this lap traffic. As we see Jesse Fox hard in the outside wall there.
Hard in the outside wall, but away from the leaders. The gap closed just a little bit while trying to navigate through lap traffic. Michael Chanel has really turned it up once again these past couple of laps. You see him in view right there.
This is exactly what he wants to see. Right now they have a little bit of time until they get to the next lap car, so this is really Michael Chanel's best chance. He needs to be smooth, put in good lap times, and just slowly close that gap, which is exactly what he's doing. I think in about 5 laps time, we're going to see a great battle for the lead here.
And that gap closing quickly. I think Bud is maybe struggling a little bit more right now. You see him trying to move up a little bit, trying to find a little bit of speed
Yeah, this is exactly what I was talking about in the heats. These drivers just did not experiment enough moving around the track. This is lap 22 now. Their longest stint was lap 10, and they always ran the same line that they started on. You really have to be moving around. If you want to win a dirt race, you have to move around. You're always looking for grip. There's never a moment where you're running the same line.
Right now, the gap between these two is down to nothing. Michael Chanel all over the back bumper of Bud Shear, slinging that car into the corner. Trying to get a good run off. These guys are going to be coming up on more lap traffic here. We'll see how much that plays into being a factor once again.
Yeah, this is going to be big lap traffic here too. They're using all kinds of lines here. They're not all running the same line, so we're seeing Bud Shear. He's a little bit more out of the racetrack now, more and more by each lap. So I'm a little bit worried if he's already struggling with having clean track. Once he gets side by side, this is going to be a struggle for him. I think Michael Chanel's in a really good seat, and we even see Christian Schroeder starting to close that gap again. Like I said, he's using the higher line now, higher and higher. There's going to be more and more grip up there. Will run off, so this is going to be big here.
A dive to the inside. Made it stick. That forced Bud to get stuck behind that 76 of the lap car. And now we're going to have a lead change for the time being. Chanel able to utilize that lap traffic to his advantage. Now that's going to open up the door for Christian to put some pressure on Bud for second place. But not too far ahead, they got more lap traffic. That's a 7 car of Rusty Jordan. No 5 Chantel. I think she also had a little bit of damage and it got into an incident there a few laps ago. She is currently 2 laps down.
I just want to give a shout out to the lap cars. I think they're doing a very well, very respectful job of getting out of the way too. For drivers that have no dirt experience, they have nothing. As we see the leader in the lap car make contact, they're doing a good job trying to stay out of the way. I give them props for this.
And I misspoke a minute ago. Chantel was actually 5 laps down, but as I said, we have a caution out on the track. I'm trying to figure out who this was for. Oh, it's Bud Shear, I believe. Yeah, Bud Shear missing that rear end. Definitely got some heavy contact. I think we can look at it here. Let's go ahead and take a look here real quick. So it happened between him and the 14 going into turn 1. Looks like, I don't know. I mean, I can't really blame either one of those. It looks like they were just racing hard for position and just shot the track there, and Bud went around. Unfortunately got the bad end of that.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. You know, you gotta get the rear end kicked out, and when they got stuck together and got the rear end kicked out, he hit him in the most vulnerable place, which was that left rear tire, which just hooked him around. Hate to see that happen to Bud. He was running a great race. Obviously fell back just a little bit there with the changing track conditions. But you know, this caution halfway point of the race, this changes everything.
Now, it was unfortunate that he got that damage from that. However, those top 3 had really put a big gap between them and the rest of the field, so he didn't actually lose really any positions from that at all. Now, the damage will probably affect him in how his car handles, but position-wise, he didn't really lose anything right there.
Yeah, I'll be definitely interested as we come back here. The pace truck's off.
Green flag back in the air. Michael Chanel going to lead him into turns 1 and 2. The 14 on the outside with a great run. Will he stick it? Yes, he will. Now Christian to the race lead. Hops the berm, though. And that's going to open up the door for Michael Chanel and Bud Shear. Once again, will they be able to take advantage as they head down once again into turns 1 and 2?
Great restart for Christian Trevor. You know, these guys restarted. This is the first time being grouped up this tightly in the changing track conditions. We restarted the main event with the fresh track, and we got the crews out here watering the track down and all that. That hasn't happened since the start of the race, so this is new conditions being this tightly packed. We've seen the outside shoot out there, and then he helped the berm there a little bit. So if I was thinking of drivers, I'd probably be running a little bit higher up the track. I think that's where the speed's at.
Yeah, and with 24 laps to go, really, these laps are winding down quite quickly. As I think that's Jeffrey Ledford in the wall once again. They didn't get any damage this time, but he's been kind of playing with disaster so far in this main event. We'll see what Michael Chanel can do here, as he's been finding, I'd say he really comes into finding speed about 10 laps into a green flag run. I know he didn't have the speed right there on that restart, but I definitely think he will have another shot at the race lead before we get down to the end of this thing.
Yeah, 22 laps to go here. We're gonna see lap traffic. I think we're gonna get into heavy lap traffic at the very end of the race. So right now, Chanel's #1 job right here is just to keep the gap. He doesn't need to pass him or get side by side. He just needs to keep the gap so he can do something once they reach lap traffic. So that should be his #1 goal right now. Just get into a good race pace, be smooth, and you cannot afford a mistake right now. There's not enough time to come back from this point in the race.
No mistakes is what it's gonna take. And with 20 laps to go, we're gonna go ahead and take our quick side-by-side. We'll be back in just a moment, but you guys will not miss a thing.
From humble beginnings to raising the future, achieving success along the way, we'll never back down, because we are here to race.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
To get the most eyes on your vehicle, you need the best that the rest will see. At Lightning Wraps, you get the best at an affordable price compared to the rest. Be sure to check us out on Facebook for more information.
Welcome back to the Lightning eSports Arca Series, live from Knoxville Raceway. We have just gotten a caution here, and you kind of saw it there on side by side. It was with it involved Timothy Causey here, who went around and is going to bring out this late race caution. We'll go ahead and take a look at it here. Now, it kind of started off of 3 and 4. It looks like he had a little bit of an issue with getting through 3 and 4. Tried to hang on to it. Collected the 2 of Hayden Cookhausen and just trying to get out the way. Got it up against the wall, and the officials decided to throw the yellow just because of the position of where he was out on the track. Really not anywhere he can go or move right now, so you know, great job by the officials to be able to throw that caution, as we're gonna take the green flag here with under 10 laps to go. Michael Chanel with a great restart. He's gonna get around Christian here for the race lead.
Yeah, this is the hardest you see these guys push all race long. There's no more lap traffic, less than 8 to go here. It's just, you gotta go. You gotta push as hard as you can. You're gonna see the most mistakes these guys have made all night. We're trying to get that win.
And right now, these 2 drivers who have been probably 2 of the best tonight, looking to settle it out with 6 laps to go. Michael Chanel, we talked about him needing to find that short run speed, and that he did. Able to put a bit of a distance between him and Christian for the time being. And right now we got a little bit of a newcomer here in 3rd place. That's Barry Nelson.
Yeah, very impressive driver, Barry Nelson. He started last place on this grid and has made his way up to P3. That is something I did not see coming. He's putting in some great laps right now. maybe if we get one more caution, maybe you can get up there and challenge. I'm not sure if clean air is a thing in dirt racing, but it does seem like whoever has the lead has the ability to pull away from what I've seen. So we've seen Michael Chanel and Christian Schreiber trade the lead back and forth on restarts, and then they pull away. It's very hard to tell who is actually faster than one another.
And with 3 laps to go, Michael able to have the race lead for the time being, using all the racetrack, and we have a caution. So just as we were talking about, that's the one of Warren Russell. Oh, and wait, was that our race leader right there? No, that wasn't. Sorry, that was our teammate. That was the 91 of Sebastian Chanel, who got into that incident late right there. But we were talking about it. If we got a late race caution, Barry Nelson might have a shot at the win here. We'll go ahead and take a look at this incident real quick. And going through 3, I'm not quite sure. Oh, it looks like somebody up ahead might have. That's the 24 backwards. I'm not quite sure. I can't remember who that exactly is. Let's see.
I believe that's the 21 of Robert Kahn.
Oh, that's the 21. Excuse me. That's so Robert Kahn going through 1 and 2, looking. I mean, looks like he kind of misjudged that. I'll have to take another look here and see if we can get an aerial view. Yeah, I'm thinking he might have thought that Jesse Fox in that 69 machine might have gone below the berm there. But again, it's just so hard to steer these cars sometimes that he might have just tried to call it as close as he could and misjudged it just a bit. That resulted in a little bit of a pile up there. Alright, Bryce.
Something to watch. I think Barry Nelson might have gotten front end damage from that right. I actually don't see him in third. He might have pitted for damage repair.
Yeah, it looks like he did have to come down Perry Road, so that's going to hurt his chances at the win. But green flag back out and away with just a few laps to go, and Christian with issues there. Finally back out on track, but Michael Chanel with a great restart. As we have cars in the wall behind, cars with more issues, cars around. But it's not going to matter because they've taken the white flag. And this is going to get interesting because there is a car sitting here in the middle of the track. Close call right there.
Oh my.
But through turns 3 and 4, Michael Chanel able to hang on to it with a last minute chaotic restart.
What about Jeffrey Ledford? We talked about him all race. He was struggling big time in the wall. Comes home P2. What a drive.
And that kind of really started when Christian wasn't able to get the restart that he needed. And that really opened up the door for some of these guys to sneak through and gain a few positions at the last second. And I'm sure Christian's probably going to be rethinking that restart, try to give it his all, and just unfortunately he had a little bit of a bobble right there and didn't get the chance to go for that race win. That was a little bit sketchy right there, going through turns 3 and 4 right there at the last minute. We had a car still. I think he was trying to get out the way, but he was unfortunately in the middle of the track, and that could have been bad. But majority of the field able to sneak through there, thankfully.
Yeah, thankfully the leaders didn't get caught up in that. If I was in that position, I probably would have towed at that point. But yeah, thankfully none of the leaders got caught up as green, white, checkered restarts on the dirt track. Everyone's pushing, and I think we tore up a lot of cars there at the end.
Yeah, definitely a lot of cars in that last attempt got a little bit, if not significant amount of damage. And we're going to give any of these guys who want to be interviewed a minute to get in here before we move on to anything, just in case they want to talk with us. We'll go ahead and take a look at that moment right there. I'm not quite sure if I have it bookmarked, unfortunately. Now, there was a handful of things that went on back here. We had cars in the wall here, cars in the wall there. I think it was Brandon Cookhausen that was sitting in the track right here trying to get it going. And right there you saw how close it was. Take another look at it. Yeah, turn 1, I mean, really, everybody just trying to get all that they could, and there's 1, 2 cars involved. That's Rusty Jordan. Again, Brandon Cookhausen. I'm not quite sure if something broke or if he was just not able to get it going, but we'll see as we come around here. Right there, that's just such a close call.
Yeah, we see the tires spinning, trying to gas it up to get going. I don't think they knew just the leaders were right there that quickly.
And you see right there, if we go back a few frames as well, that's Christian right there on the bottom. Kind of hopped out berm. I wouldn't really say it's what started this, but it definitely got a lot of these guys stacked up behind, and
yeah, this was just a mix of, dirt racing, non-experience, as we talked about earlier in the show. Between races remaining before the playoffs, you have a green light check. You see points in front of you, and you have to go take them. So, just a mix of non-experience, playoff racing, and trying to make sure you get your team into the playoffs. I don't blame any of them for maybe overdriving the corner or getting into one another, but that's just what's going to happen in these situations.
And an eventful, pretty quiet up until then, but those last couple of restarts were just really eventful in it. There was a lot of carnage, and unfortunately a lot of guys who unfortunately got torn up in there after probably having close to a great night. And we'll go ahead, and I don't think we'll get any of these drivers in here, but we'll go ahead and we'll go down our race results. So once again, Michael Chanel with the race win. Jeffrey Ledford able to get a solid P2 finish. Luke Deschardins there in 3rd. Christian Schraber there in 4th. Sean Burke will round out the top 5. Then we hit a Bud Shear, Jason Henry, Mike Rideout, Hayden Cookhausen, and Barry Nelson will be the top 10 drivers. I just want to point out, Bud Shear finished 6th, and we wondered what that damage was going to do to his car, and it really hurt him there after he received that damage. Wouldn't you say, Bryce?
Yeah, The one thing you got to do is have power down the straights during dirt racing, and he obviously had that rear end damage, so he had aero issues, and then the caution before that green white checkered, his nose got ripped off. So I would say he should be thankful he came home with a 6 with the car he ended with. So just great perseverance and hanging in there at the end.
Yeah, and great job to be able to rebound and at least come out with a semi-decent finish. Now, running down through the rest of the field, we'll have Sebastian Chanel, Jesse Fox, Rusty Jordan, Brandon Cookhausen, Oren Russell, Timothy Causey, Robert Kahn, Chris Ellis, and then Chantel there in the 19th and final position. Now, like we talked about it, we have just one more race after tonight's race here from Knoxville. That's going to be at New Hampshire, and that'll be a pretty entertaining race, I think. I think we'll probably see some drivers try and, work themselves into a last-ditch effort of getting either a win or some good points that may be needed. Now, actually, as I was just looking over there, we do have Michael in the waiting room now, so if we want to speak to him, we can go ahead and do that. And Bryce, would you like to take the interview away?
Yeah, I think I can do it.
Alrighty, we'll bring Michael up in the booth here.
Michael Chanel, you survived the Knoxville dirt race, bringing home a big win. Talk to us about how your race went.
Well, first of all, I'm a French Canadian, so if my English not perfect, sorry about that. But I managed my race, trying to go as fast as I could down the track most of the race, and honestly, it went well for me. I had to be patient, not push too hard. A lot of throttle management, and I guess came out with the win, and I'm really happy about it.
Yeah, good job. I gotta imagine. Do you have any dirt background at all, or was this one of your first events on dirt?
Honestly, I'm more of a dirt driver. It's the first time I tried the Arca car on the dirt track, but I do a lot of 358 modified, sometimes big blocks. I'm more of a dirt driver, but it showed tonight. But honestly, it's for the first time it was fun, but it was hard too. I like the challenge. Sorry for my English. I'm a bit nervous too. So.
No, you're good. You looked like you're a veteran out there. I mean, you looked very smooth compared to everyone else. I'd say your biggest contender was that number 14 of Christian Shriver. My one question, I don't do too much dirt racing. It seemed like it almost had a dirty air effect. It seemed like you and Christian would trade the lead back and forth on restarts and pull away. Was that a thing tonight, or just having that seeing no one in front of you just really make that big of a difference?
Well, I believe it does affect a bit, but when you run the same line, it's all about like your break point and how fast you go back on the throttle. So you want to be a clean racer. You don't want to like push too hard to hit the other driver and respect his space. And yes, it affects a bit, but it's more about keeping your tires on the nice dirt. When it's loosely slippery, well, you over rev, you spin out, and the thing is to keep the back tires on the nice dirt.
Well, good job again on your big win here tonight. Is there any sponsors or family or friends you'd like to shout out for your win tonight?
Yeah, I would like to thank my cousin Sebastien, who's racing with us tonight, for his sponsorship medalhead. It's a little thing we have together, and we enjoy it. And Washer game too with Luc Desjardins, who race tonight with the third place, which is pretty good. And I want to thank you guys for all the good jobs you do every week, and can't wait to see you next weekend.
Well, thank you. I wish you luck with New Hampshire, and can't wait to see what you do in the playoffs.
All right, thanks a lot, man.
That was our race winner, Mike Schnell. Great to hear from him. And like you mentioned, Bryce, it looked really like he was a veteran out there and kept at it all night. I mean, even in his heat race, he was looking really good and able to keep the rest of the field and Christian and Bud on their toes all night. And like you said, I'm also excited to see what he does in the playoffs. I mean, I think we got a lot of good drivers that are already either locked in or are close to being locked in, and I think going into these playoffs, it's going to be interesting to see what these drivers can do. Now,
Yeah, I'm very interested to see. Go ahead.
no, go ahead. I was just going to ask a question, but you go ahead.
Yeah, I'm interested. Obviously, we had the Win in Your In. We have New Hampshire next week. That's a track that you can get really physical. You can get the bumper. I'm interested to see. We're going to see some morals be tested next week and see what drivers are willing to do to lock themselves into the playoffs. So next week is going to be super exciting, and I can't wait to see how that shapes up.
Now, like you said, I think definitely it's going to be interesting to see how this shapes up. And I wanted to ask, do you think you have a championship favorite so far, or is that have yet to be determined?
It's very hard to not go with Bud Shear at the moment. Obviously, we can't take too much. We've seen him fast here tonight on the dirt. Obviously, lost that long run speed once the track rubbered up, but Bud Shear is a hard one not to go with. I think some others to keep an eye on: Timothy Kazi and Jeffrey Ledford looks pretty good too. I wouldn't be shocked to see them compete.
Alrighty, and as we go ahead and wrap things up, pretty interesting night overall once again here from Knoxville Raceway, and we'll be back here in just a week time from New Hampshire. Again, that's the same time as every week. Congrats once again to Michael Chanel on his win. Able to hear from him was always fun. And actually, as I was just about to wrap things up, I think we got another driver in here. So, Bryce, would you like to do another interview here real quick?
We'll let you get this one. We'll do some follow up.
Alrighty. Alright, hey Luke, we're just about to, cut things off, and then I saw you jump in here, so I didn't want to miss the opportunity to speak with you. But
yeah, we had a good race, so I was expecting a short track because I'm really good, but on dirt, I said, "Oh, it's dirt." So I'm not used to it, but finally the high lane was pretty good, so I keep it safe and hey, just move to the top. So I'm pretty happy.
yeah, you talk about not being used to dirt, and this is the one unique track on the schedule really this season. And honestly, it looked like some people out there may have had more issues than others, but coming out with a third place is always a good finishing position, especially at a track that you might not be accustomed to. Now, when you head to New Hampshire next week, that's a short track. You're definitely going to have a little bit more car knowledge at that track, but
and I know that track. So I should do a good race. Expecting at least a top 5. We'll see. Depends with the pit strategy. The last one, I was stuck in the middle, so I lost it. But yeah, I hope gonna be able to have a good race. But even if I missed like 3 weeks of racing because my job, so anyway, I will still make all the races left. So pretty sure we're gonna have fun, even if I'm not in the playoff. So.
And that's what I like to hear from drivers who, might not be in playoff contention. You always want to go out there and give it 100% for your team, your sponsors, your family, whatever it may be. And to be able to hear that from you, I mean, I think we're going to be excited to look forward to seeing what you can do in these next couple of weeks before the season wraps up.
Yeah, and there will be more seasons. So, even if this season I didn't make the playoff, but next season, I hope I'm gonna make it. Normally on Sunday night I'm always free, but sometime things came out and you need to make a choice. And racing for me it's a hobby. It's not a job. So, and by the way, you're doing a great job. And my name is Desjardins. Say it like that. You're gonna be okay.
Deschardin. Deschardin.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for clarifying that. It's been hard trying to get some of you guys' last names down.
Yeah. You're not the only one. Normally they call me Luke, and it's perfect.
Well, thank you for being able to take a minute to speak with us. It's always a pleasure to be able to speak to you guys after this race. Before I let you go, is there any sponsors you'd like to thank or any shout-outs you would like to give?
Yes, of course. Metalhead racing team that I'm in, and my company that I'm building. It's a new product that I'm going to do put on the market. It's a washer game. So washer game, it's a community, but a product will come out of this community. And there's also SC Plumbing. I'm going to say it in English, and Alex Graphic that help us with all the logos and everything. And thank you to all of you of the broadcast and everything, Chantel, everyone that put this league together. So together we can make something bigger. So
And I like the sounds of that. Thank you again, Luke, for being able to speak with us real quick. And hopefully this is the start of what will be many interviews with you.
all right, I hope so. I hope so. See you guys, and take care.
Alrighty, thank you. You too. That was third place finisher, and Luke Deschardin. I think I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna mess that up until I get it down. But you know, a lot of these guys always a great pleasure to speak to. Always seem super hyped and joyful, and you know, Bryce, that's kind of one of the perks of being able to speak with some of these guys. You get to know them a little bit better and get to know how to pronounce their names a little bit better.
Yeah, I feel that. I always feel bad when I mess up names, and I'm like one of the worst when it comes to pronouncing names. So thank him for coming in and sharing that with us. We'll definitely be able to work on it a little bit better. And just getting to hear Luke throughout that conversation. I love drivers that have his attitude, especially when it comes to not having a chance at the playoffs because you missed races or whatever it might be. Just to hear how much fun he still has in the playoffs, not being able to contend. So I always appreciate drivers like Luke. Always a good personality, and drivers like those are what makes leagues grow and become bigger. So love talking to him tonight.
Yes, that is, and yes, I think I can also agree with everything you just said. Now, I don't think we're gonna have any more drivers head in here, and I think we should be able to wrap it up here. I'll double check one more time, and it looks like we should be clear to wrap it up. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up here from Knoxville Raceway. Once again, we'll be back here next week, same time, live from New Hampshire Motor Speedway for the last race before we get to the playoffs. Once again, I'm Oscar. This is Bryce Shoemaker besides me, and we will see you guys once again next week.
From humble beginnings to raising the future, achieving success along the way. We'll never back down, because we are here to race.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
To get the most eyes on your vehicle, you need the best that the rest will see. At Lightning Wraps, you get the best at an affordable price compared to the rest. Be sure to check us out on Facebook for more information.
Sometimes